All right, well, we're here with Mr. Marc Nathan of Comics, Cards, and Collectibles. Did I say the name right?
Cards, Comics, and Collectibles.
Cards, Comics, Collectibles. And also the founder and man that runs the world-famous Baltimore Comic Con.
World famous.
Which is coming up on its 25th anniversary con this year. So can you tell us a little bit about what made you decide to start the convention 25 years ago?
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
I noticed it.
Yes, you do. In traveling and doing other conventions all across the country, and I'm not going to pick on other cities because that's how it happened. I would go to other cities and set up and be there, and people would look at my wall and say, hey, well, that's a lot of really good stuff. Where are you guys from? And I would say Baltimore, and I would occasionally get, like, what the hell does that mean? And it was like, and I would look at where I'm at, and I'm like, no to that town, whatever town that might be, or both of them. But it was so small town pride. It was, I looked at it, and I was like, oh, we can do this in our own city. And that started out when we did this 25 years ago. New comics were kind of in the dump. We were coming out of the 90s boom into the 90s crash, and a lot of the store owners were people that I cared about, and I felt that collectors were still out there. They just needed to be reminded why they liked it. I called them that they were dusty, and we had to dust them off, bring them out, like an old collector, bring them back out. And we did it for the first 2 years in a hotel, and it worked. It worked to a point that I got fire marshal scared.
Oh.
Probably jumped to the convention center a year before we should have, but I knew we couldn't stay there. I knew we couldn't stay like that, and that's really what it was. It was just pride in where we live and the friends that I gathered that I wanted to make sure that they had at least one weekend where all their bills were paid, and that's really all it was.
Well, I want to give a testimonial to Baltimore Comic Con. Of all the cons I go to, this is my favorite by far, big con, because it's about the books. It's about the creators, the men and women that have made these books, and it's about It's about the fans that this is what they love. You know, it's this industry. Be able to dive and find quality books. It's not about the newest toy. It's not about the newest actor. It's not about the newest movie. It's about these books. And when you bleed four-color ink, this is where you want to go. You want to go to Baltimore Comic Con. This man right here, Marc Nathan, I've known him for at least 30 years. At least 30, 40 years I've been buying books from him. And he is stellar. He's a great individual. He also has a great store if you're in Reisterstown, Maryland. Come check that store out. It is fantastic. Built in, it's an old movie theater.
Yes.
It's an old movie theater. It's fantastic. But that convention, come to Baltimore, and you'll also see a lot of CodeX people are coming to Baltimore in mass, so we'll have no stories there. But with that, they give me one con a year. Right there, baby. Baltimore Comic Con.
Yeah, we did the video there last year, and all the creators we talked to, and then creators I've done interviews with, I've always said, to a creator, like, this is the one to go to if you love comics. The other ones, they have the multimedia stuff, but if you love comics and you love the creators and you want to meet them, this is the one that you go to.
That's going to make you feel great, right?
We've created the comic book dealers too, and I make sure that they're my friends, so I have to take care of them too because I want to.
Absolutely.
So it's just by doing so many conventions myself, I know what I liked and what I appreciated. As easy as you can make the load in, as easy as you can make the load out. Not so much noise. Yeah. Everything like that, and it's just a lot of it is just easy. It's just like, hey, load-in's going to start at 5. But if you want to go get your car, go get it. It's like that. It's like I'm not going to. Hey, you're a foot into the aisle. Well, let's try to make sure nobody notices that.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't give your friends a hard time unless they deserve it.
The store that you own. It's funny. I didn't know that you own that store and did the Comic Con because your store is about 10 or 15 minutes away from where my aunt lives in Reisterstown.
Yeah.
So whenever I go up there, to see her, I always try and either on the way there or on the way back, stop by the store and like, all right, let me see if I can pick up anything I missed, look around, pick up some stuff. And then when Gary had said, oh yeah, you're gonna do an interview with him, and he owns this shop here too. I'm like, I've been to that shop a bunch of times.
We lived in Reisterstown in the 70s.
Oh, well,
Bernie writes.
Bernie writes.
Just like
Nobody
Gary,
likes
you know,
Yeah, I know. The God I worship.
Just like Gary, when we met him, and he said, "Oh, you know, I partly own this comic shop," and we went to his house for the first time to see his collection, and went to the shop. Me and Sal went, and as we're pulling up, I told Sal, I'm like, "I've been here before." He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, this is very distinctive pulling up to where that is." I'm like, "I've been to this shop a few times before."
Huh.
So it's just funny that, you know, I've been to all these shops and realized, like, oh yeah, I've been here, I've been there.
You're more people.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, just having that, you know, not realizing, like, you know, the people that own them, you know.
Absolutely.
Like, oh yeah, I know these guys.
And when he came to the house, and Sal and Dan came to the house, and they did a tour of my library of comics, we call it. They got to see a lot of the books that I had bought from you.
There you go.
You know, so you are your books are featured prominently there.
And all you remember the ones you didn't get.
I do remember a couple I did. But you know what? Most of the books I've gotten, I don't regret. You know what I mean?
Never regret the ones you get. Because even if you spend too much money, you're like, it'll be okay in a couple of years. It'll work out. But the ones that you left, and you're like, damn it, I should have gotten that. And it'll haunt you to the day you die.
It does with me.
Yeah. That happened when I bought my More Fun 50, the football cover. I was looking, I was contemplating at Baltimore, and I always pick a Golden Age beauty I'm going to buy. And I pulled the trigger early on Sunday morning, and when I went back to that vendor, he said, "There's a guy that came by after me, and he's almost in tears that book was gone." He waited too long, so he's going to have to regret.
He's punching the steering wheel driving home.
That's right,
Yep.
absolutely.
So the 25th anniversary for the con, I know you're doing it, you know, a little bit bigger this year. So is there anything special planned for it you could let us know about?
There are some things that I'm not allowed to tell you yet. But you'll find out. You'll find out some really good ones on the Monday after Free Comic Con. I'm allowed to talk then about some things. There's a couple of other things that are still up in the air. This time of year, it's very frustrating for me because I have a lot of things that I'm just waiting to get to the finish line that I've been working on for a long time. Just like read your email, sign the contract, get this over with, and it's just like it's a little kid waiting for December 25th. I'm waiting for just to open my email and go, oh, finally, you read it. Great.
Well, so right now you're in the anticipation mode, and I know when you get there, it ramps up. And like I said, that weekend you're a busy man. I know the day after you're like Santa Claus the day after Christmas.
Not
right?
quite the day after, more like a few days later.
2 days after.
When I get to my doggy daycare and get my dog back. That's about that. That's what I feel like. Okay, life can be. He likes it. Yeah. He likes where he goes. But when I get him back, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm home. Right, I'm back now.
Well, I could say that when we try and do a lot of interviews with creators, and we talked to Jimmy Palmiotti recently, and he talked about how much he liked the con. I talked to Derek Robertson. That interview's getting ready to go up soon. Because I always ask the creators, like, what cons do you have coming up? And I'm like, hey, are you going to be in Baltimore? And he said, Derek Robertson said, like, they asked me, I'll come. So just putting that out there. If you ask him, he said he'd come.
Okay.
Well, so they're hitting us up to get That's it. You've got the exclusive party that everybody wants an invite to.
Well, part of that is that a lot of comic creators get their next gig there, and it's happened for a long time because it's just there's so many people there that are like, hey, what are you working on? Well, actually, I'm looking for something. Hey, I got a thing for you, and that happens a lot. There's a lot of comics got made in Little Italy. It happens a lot.
That's pretty cool.
Or over a crab cake.
Well, hey, nothing wrong with that.
Or a cannoli. Like 8 months later, it's just like a parent. Like 8 or 9 months later, I'll look at a book and I go, I know where this comic was made.
That's
right? I know where it was made. Yep.
It's a Baltimore baby.
And I can point them out to you. There's a lot of them.
That's a testament to how great the con is that you can look at it and say, you know what? If I hadn't started this convention, this book would not be here.
Jeff Johns, Scott Collins, J.G. Jones on Avengers. That happened at our show.
Wow. Oh, that was a good one.
With Tom Brevoort. Go back to that. And
that's a lot to be proud of.
It was all there. I mean, it happens a lot.
And happy 25th anniversary. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Thanks. Now I can quit?
That's amazing.
No.
That's up to you. I know a lot of people be disappointed, but maybe you'll rest easier sometimes.
You can put us in charge of it. That'll be our new full-time jobs.
You better keep going.
Okay. Right. So what would be better if when I stop and hand it off, here you go, if it wrecks terribly and I like...
Well, then you went out on top.
But people come up like, I liked it a lot better when you did it.
Well,
right? I mean, I don't know. I thought about this.
Then you swoop back in as a returning hero and return it to its glory.
All right, come on, Johns Hopkins, create that pill that we can stay young.
Well, I love the convention. I've been going. I mean, it's probably since I don't remember the first year I went, but it's probably since the first year you had it in the convention center. I remember taking my brother when he's in his 20s now, when he was a little kid, and I remember telling him, like, all right, this is the money you have to spend. Don't spend it at the first stop, the first stand you see. Like, wait and look at everything. What does he do? Spends it at the first stand he sees. But
that first year in the convention center, there were a lot of first-time really good guests that year too.
Yeah,
like Jeff, like Meltzer, like there's a lot of good ones that year.
Well, the reason I met Bernie Leichen was coming to your show. I got one opportunity, and Darwin did one opportunity.
Darwin.
Yeah, so, and I guess that's true, because you become friends with a lot of these creators, and to see so many of them at a pass.
Because you like DC War, this happened.
Yeah.
So when we had the Harvey Awards before the Ringo Awards, we give out every year an annual Hero Initiative Lifetime Achievement Award, I was asked, who do I really want the award to go to this year? And I said, I really like Russ Heath, because he's one of the last people that actually worked at EC with Harvey that are still alive. And then, of course, he ghosted little Annie Fanny at Playboy, and lived in the Playboy Mansion. I said, this is the guy. And I was at Motor City, and I got a call from one of my guys saying, hey, we got him. Who do you want to present? And I said, he'll never do it, but it should be Darwin. And he goes, I hung up, and he said, well, I'll ask. Minutes later, he'd be honored. Wow. Darwin gave a speech for the ages that was so incredibly emotional that not only did he cry, Darwin Cook, we all cried.
Wow.
And that would have been September, October of that year, and then Darwin died in January. So most people's last memory that they saw Darwin was then. Was a super emotional, wonderful moment. And it was something. To talk about those two things, that speech was a reason to be in the room.
When I met Darwin and Bernie, they were adjacent to me.
I remember that year.
Where they were, and then they were both gone. And I even asked Darwin at one point.
I think that was that year.
Yeah, it was that year. And I said, wow, how great is that? And next to Bernie, he goes, I know, right? And it was just, even he was gushing. It was next to Bernie, but Darwin, what a class act. But man, way too soon.
Way too soon.
Way too soon. Yep. So, good stuff. Come to the Baltimore Con and meet your heroes. Meet your heroes. I've been so fortunate over the years that I've gone to the cons like this, and I've got to say hello and shake the hands of these creators that have given me so much joy and entertainment in life. And you know what? That makes their day too. It makes their day too when you can tell them that their work has moved you. So that's my testimony.
And don't forget, CodeX, we are getting a table at Baltimore Comic Con this year. So 25th anniversary, and we'll be getting a table too. We got Codexers that are in various states across the country that are all coming into town specifically for that weekend for this convention.
Wonderful. So, I guess I better make it good.
Well,
we are looking.
I'm sure it already will be.
Very much looking forward to it. We all started saving up money so that we can,
buy our Grail books.
Have some nice money to drop that weekend.
Terrific.
So, do you have a personal collection yourself?
Of course I do.
What's your favorite character?
Donald Duck. Or
Donald
Uncle
Duck.
Scrooge, either way. Carl Barks.
Nice. Very good.
Who we got to meet.
Yeah.
So that was an idol for him. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
So make sure you check it out online. You could go to BaltimoreComicCon.com. You can just Google Baltimore Comic Con and everything will come up.
That's a counter with the days and the seconds and the minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
I hate that thing.
You're not sitting there hitting the button every second.
No, I know. I just hate to know how much time is breathing down my neck.
It's rough for the guy putting it on, but for the fans that are anticipating
I like my summer. It goes too fast.
But on the Facebook page, if you subscribe to them on Facebook, they're always putting updates on what creators are there and what's happening. And I always love seeing it. Be like,
we moved our announcements to Mondays.
It's a heck of a list, and you're going to be shocked with that many great creators in it.
And it's only growing.
Yep.
So thank you for taking the time to interview us.
Right,
thank you for creating such an amazing convention.
Thank you.
Thank you, like always, my friend. I appreciate it.
Coming to Charm City.
I'll shake your hand in a minute.
Coming to Charm City and visit America's greatest Comic Con.
There you go.
I second that.